Well there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the MrWarrenHayes Show. This is the special NWA Powerrr recap that I do live right here on patreon.com/MrWarrenHayes. That's right. That is absolutely correct. I do the live recording of the NWA Powerrr recap over on Patreon, exclusive for patrons who are at the $5 tier, the Power Pal tier of the MrWarrenHayes Show that you can show support for right here. And then even if you don't make it live as a patron, you still have early access to it because I release this into the wild the next day over on youtube.com/MrWarrenHayes and also on all your favorite podcast applications. It's there as well. It's everywhere is there. It's there everywhere. So if you want to jump in, if you want to come join or just listen to me talk about NWA before everyone else does, well, become a member of the Patreon. Join the Patreon, and I would appreciate that a great deal. A great deal. Such as you know how appreciative I am of my current patrons. I'm very appreciative of my current patrons, such as Smart to Death, Nick Wolf, John Washaba, Harmony, Big Paws on a Pup, and Ben Parizet, who are all power pals of the show. So go check it out. You get this, you get a whole bunch of other stuff. You get a post stream every Thursday after I'm done with the main MrWarrenHayes Show. I start up another post stream where I call Warren's Off the Clock, much more relaxed, much more chill. We talk a lot about stuff. It's a good time, and that's for patrons only. You get my show notes. Look, there's goodies. There's all sorts of goodies. So go check out all of the goodies on Patreon. Otherwise, thank you, patrons, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for watching. And if you're watching right now on YouTube, do give the video a thumbs up. If you're listening to this on your favorite podcast application, well, you can always show it some love. Any way that the application allows you to show love. Unless it's illegal, unless you have to do illegal things, don't do illegal things to show me love. All I want in a loving relationship is honesty and trust. Those are the foundations, folks, of any real relationship. That's the only thing that's all that matters, really. What was I talking about? NWA Powerrr. Coming off the heels of a really hot episode last week, which was real good. Starting off this week's episode here, I'm going to tell you guys, Pantera. I'm a middle-aged white man. I've listened to my share of Pantera throughout the 90s. That's fine. There's no big shocker there. Pantera's great. I just don't know about this theme song. I don't know why they felt compelled to change Into the Fire, which it's to me is just iconic to NWA now. I don't know why they decided to change it. Maybe their rights deal was up and they decided to not renegotiate. I don't know why. You tell me why. Tell me why. It sort of took me by surprise, and I was like, no, I'm not into this. I'm not into it. Bring me back Dawkins. I don't know, but it's all right. It's not going to take away. It's not going to take away from my enjoyment of the show, just as much as AC/DC asking me every week if I am ready for a good time does not take away my enjoyment of SmackDown. Tim Storm comes out to begin. He goes up to the interview podium with your man Joe Galli. Tim Storm calls the NWA fans family, and he will face Tom Latimer in a match next week, which should be rocking because Tom Latimer is the man. He says that Tim Storm says that he asked for this match because he still wants to be considered a contender for titles, for TV title. He wants to be in a title picture, so he wants to prove himself. I mean, this is consistent, right? With Tim Storm as a character on a wrestling show. I'm pretty sure it's very close to who he is in real life. I don't think it's that much of a stretch. We're not like talking Dustin Runnels Goldust difference in characters here. I think this is really good. I think that it's good that he continues to position himself, try to always be like, you know what? I want to still be credible. I still have a place here, and the fans buy into it. The fans love it. I like it too. I think they're doing a great job with him character-wise. But then Joe Galli asks him the big question. There's some murmurs backstage, some rumor and innuendo to steal from another successful podcast. There's a lot of talk backstage, Tim, that you want to retire, which of course gets the NWA faithful into a tizzy. But he says, no, it's not going to happen. And then Latimer, accompanied by Camille, come out. And he says he doesn't give a crap about the match next week. By God, what a heel. But then Joe Galli interrupts the promo. He goes to his earpiece and is like, we got some breaking news. Mama Storm is here. Mama Storm. The audience erupts. A huge pop. And Tim Storm's like, what? My mom's here? Kind of things like, what? How did she get here? But no, it's some dude in drag, dressed with a walker, dressed up as an old lady. Tim Storm's not happy about it. Mama Storm takes some shots at Tim Storm and walks away. If this is a one-time thing, honestly, I dug the promo right up to this point here. I thought it was a little stupid and it felt directionless. But, this is the kind of thing where I'm like, I'll wait and see where this goes. Let's just wait and see where it goes. Because if this develops into something that has maybe to do with Strictly Business, which, Storm has been feuding with various members, or at least fighting with them. He's got, I think he still hates Nick Aldis, right? Maybe this will lead to something, but as a one-off thing, as a goof, I'm kind of like, at some point I was wondering if we're just seeing a live rib in front of the audience here. I don't know. But man, that pop that the audience got when Mama Storm was announced to be there, if NWA plays its cards right, they fly her in for the Crockett Cup, and they have her show up. It's going to be the pop of the night. People are going to be talking about this on social media for days after. She doesn't have to do much. She just has to show up. I think it's a good thing to do. Give it to the fans, NWA. Clearly they want that. We have Ricky Starks joining Joe Galli and Stu Bennett to watch Matt Cross, ROH dude Matt Cross versus Caleb Conley. This was a fun match, you guys. There's some back and forth here that between them both that leads into a stalemate. Cross hits a Hurricane Rana and a running forearm smash into the corner. He does his timber falling elbow. He doesn't actually say timber, but he just drops like a log is what I'm saying. Then when I say dropping like a log, it actually sounds like, me talking about going to the bathroom. So I prefer to just say timber. And I hope I never have to say drop a log ever again on my podcast. Conley hits an enziguri. He knocks Cross off the top turnbuckle. Very nastily hits a shining wizard, covers Cross but only gets 2. He gets a nice bow and arrow on him as well. A senton covers him again but only gets 2. Cross fights back with some clotheslines, a handspring back elbow off a springboard flying back elbow without losing momentum. That was real good stuff. Covers him but only gets 2. Conley hits a rope assisted tornado DDT. Then a running bounce back cutter, I guess you'd call it, which was real cool. But the top rope shooting star press by Matt Cross puts Conley away and gets the win. 2 notes here that I will have to point out. This was a really fun match. This was a lot of fun. I will keep on this until the cows come home. Your boy Caleb Conley is too good to just be jobbing out week after week. I get it. It's the idea of paying your dues. I get it. You can't push everyone all at once, but that kid is good. He is good at professional wrestling. You put him in this match with Matt Cross, then they were able to do some nice little magic for the time that they had allotted to them. This was a fun one to get into. And we're going to see a little later on in the show, more Ring of Honor guys are going to show up. So NWA and Ring of Honor clearly looking forward to working together into some kind of relationship moving forward, and I think it's smart for both of them. I think it might, I think on one hand, Ring of Honor needs this kind of goodwill again. It needs to build some back. Whereas I think, where I really think NWA can benefit from having its talent show up on Ring of Honor and vice versa, having some talent exchange like this. I think it's a good move for both of them. I think there's guys like Matt Cross, for instance, deserve to have much more of a larger platform than just being on one show. Same thing like for guys like Ricky Starks. At the same time, if he goes off to work on Ring of Honor shows as an NWA guy, I mean, it's just good. It's good for everyone, and I think it's very, very telling of how things are going to go moving forward. Now, they did say, Matt Cross is having his NWA debut. I don't know if that means that he's becoming exclusive. I don't think so, though. It wouldn't make sense. I don't think it'd be that good a move at this conjecture to be like, yeah, you know what? I'm just doing this. Not in his case. We get a recap of Nick Aldis last week saying that, with the stipulation of the match, where he basically says that Marty has to refund everyone in the arena if Marty loses their match at the Crockett Cup. And I still think it's a very weird stipulation because Marty's going to be the babyface and no one is going to want the babyface to win because everyone's going to want to have their ticket refunded. Everyone's going to be like, Marty, just lose the goddamn match. I think it's a weird stip. But then, Aldis has a talks into the camera. He's speaking directly to us. First of all, pointing out that he's been champion for 571 days now, consecutive days. And it's been 7 days since he laid down the challenge to Skrull, and Skrull hasn't answered yet. So he's opening the door to Marty Skrull maybe not complying to the request, or maybe having a counter offer. He says exactly that. You're a businessman, I'm a businessman. Maybe you could just counter offer, and that'd be cool. And he expects a response back from Marty by Free Enterprise, which is this weekend, the Ring of Honor free show. So, you know what? They're doing a good job so far, hyping the main event for the Crockett Cup. I dig it. I think they're doing a good job so far, giving it some, a slow simmer and adding some ingredients as they're going along. Maybe a little thyme, a little basil. You put a bay leaf in there. You're building you're making your soup. Then what do you do next? Then you start adding in the potatoes. You start adding in the carrots, the onions, the celery. I want soup now. Can anyone make me soup? Dave Marquez is at the position, and he's with Pope, Elijah Burke, and the Dawsons, and he wants to know what's going on between all these people and Eddie Kingston. And Pope basically says that the Dawsons are running with Pope now. They capitalized on an opportunity and decided to run with him Unlike Homicide and Kingston, who refused to take some of Pope's magic, essentially. And he says Homicide, as opposed to Kingston, Homicide has no star power, which of course brings out your boy Edward Kingston. And Kingston comes out with fire, man. He puts Homicide over, saying that he's made stars in other companies. He says that he would have Kingston would have committed suicide had it not been for Homicide. He loves the man. He'd do anything for him. And he's not going to stand around and let Pope disrespect him like that. Kingston, then sort of like goes, okay, there's 3 guys here. Well, I have some backup too. Some guys from Ring of Honor. We're talking about the Bouncers who come out, the Beer City Bruiser and Brian Milanes. And they take out the Dawsons. Kingston wants Pope, but Pope backs the hell off. See, there, more Ring of Honor guys right here. And, we'll see with the Bouncers, We'll see how it goes with the Dawsons. They're similar teams. The Dawsons, they just don't do it for me. But, a storyline's a storyline. I can dig it. And I can especially dig Eddie Kingston getting himself some on Pope. And, man, Eddie Kingston in a sea of men who cut tremendous promos week after week. And you have Eli Drake just being a magician. You have Eddie Kingston cutting these heartfelt, sincere promos that speak from a place of truth. And again, this is something so crucial to the brand. We see some of it on AEW, but I really do believe that this is part of what makes NWA a real alternative to what happens on WWE television, because it's the promo before everything else. You're not putting over necessarily storylines. You're putting over your characters. You're making them real to us. And Eddie Kingston has some of the most real promos I've heard in a long time. And he's been fantastic with them in NWA so far. They need to give Eddie Kingston a bigger platform. I hope this feud that he's brewing with Elijah Burke is going to go somewhere, and somewhere good for him. Because I believe every word this guy says, which might not be a good thing. I don't know, to be so naive, but I buy into it. And that's the thing. This is what makes Power so special week after week. This was a great promo. What wasn't so great, though, was May Valentine's Diary. This attempt at a vlog that they're doing for May Valentine. Now, let me break this down a little bit, just so that you're not sitting around saying, Warren is hating on it. I appreciate the idea, and I appreciate them trying to give May Valentine something to do. Not just have her hang around as a pretty face. Just have her be there and talking and communicating and, doing something with her, where she's basically recapping. She's talking about backstage stuff and recapping what happened last week with Sal Ronaldo, and saying she has a new friend in Sal and all of that. And she, she's surprised at how jealous Isaacs got last week. But I've said this before on the main show, and I'll say it here as well. A good idea is a good idea, but then sometimes the execution just isn't there. And I don't think this is using May Valentine to her strengths. Not in a vlog type situation where she's talking to the camera, the extreme close up and the special lighting, right, like right up here, and talking to people in a vlog style. It's like, hey, what's up, everyone? This is your girl, kind of thing. Because she doesn't have that natural bubbliness that is very, very crucial to making a successful vlog, to making a vlog feel like a vlog. she's very pretty. I think she has very natural charisma, but as it stands right now, her delivery's not there. She doesn't express herself very clearly, comes across as a little scripted. It doesn't come off as very natural. And this is a big dichotomy in the rest of NWA, where everything is, you can tell nothing is scripted. Like, no one is reading lines. There's bullet points, there's objectives and things that we have to get through in our promo, but no one is reciting lines. May here is clearly reading from a script. I don't have a problem with that, but I think she's not natural at it. And on top of that, since everything else promo related in NWA is so off the cuff, this sounds even more off than maybe it would be. Plus, I don't think the production value is there. You know, the camera, the way it was positioned right in front of her face, should maybe have been angled up a little bit, coming down on her. You know, like all vloggers, YouTubers do. But I don't think it's in her personality to get that across, because she's, you guys, I love you, and it doesn't feel natural. It feels off. Whereas when you see these vloggers on YouTube do it, it's very, very natural, but they have the personalities to make it happen as well. This, I think, is a faux pas. We'll see if they want to do more of these, but it was a little cringe. Didn't like it. I think, I just don't think that this is using May Valentine to her strengths. What are her strengths? I don't know. But this here, it ain't it. Next, we had Trevor Murdoch versus Aaron Stevens for the NWA National Championship. This was off of a challenge that came last week at the tail end of that wild promo. Of course, Shooter Aaron Stevens is accompanied by his sensei, the question mark. Murdoch body slams Shooter 3 times in the ring, and he rolls out to the floor. Murdoch goes after him, but question mark runs some interference, tries to keep Murdoch from going after Stevens, but the referee's like, nah, I'm having none of that, and he tosses the question mark to some boos in the audience. I mean, it's the question mark after all. The most over guy in the company, and you're tossing him? Man. But this allows Stevens to hit a baseball slide drop kick on Murdoch. They fight onto the floor, eventually get back into the ring as well. And Steven tosses Murdoch back to the floor. He throws him out again when he comes back in, and he starts asking for match time. So we see what's going on here. There's a 10-minute time limit in championship matches on TV, at least for the NWA championship, for the national championship, excuse me. So Stevens is killing time. When Murdoch gets back in, he just tosses him out back on the floor again. Murdoch goes in, and Murdoch gets back in, but see that Stevens hits him with an eye poke and tosses him back out to the floor as well. We get the 2-minute warning at some point. Stevens' strategy clear. His strategy here is clear. He doesn't care how he wins. He just wants to win. He'll take a count-out win. That's fine with him. But Murdoch gets back into the ring. He starts to fight back with some clotheslines, a full Nelson slam. He covers Stevens, who kicks out, and we're at 1 minute before the end of the match. Murdoch gets a sleeper locked in. But he eats a jawbreaker by Stevens, and the bell rings. We get to the time limit. Stevens retains, but Murdoch just for the heck of it, he hits the top rope bulldog after the bell, just for good measure. This was fine. This was a storytelling match more than anything action-packed, but it was a good story that was told. It was the perfect story that Aaron Stevens has to tell, excuse me. That's what he's good for in NWA. I mean, he's good for a lot of things, but this is what his role is. He's the chicken shit, cowardly heel who's just really, really happy to own a title, and he's going to do anything he can to hang on to it. I dig it. I think it's fine. It works perfectly for him. Why not do that? It's a good distraction. I like it. It's different. It's different from anything else on the show. We get a Zicky Dice promo backstage where he says that if NWA gets to 284,000 subscribers, that's about 284,000 more subscribers than I have, then he'll do something as chosen by the fans, as picked by the fans. Okay. We'll see how this goes. Sean Mooney gets a 2-minute spot where he recaps the events of the past couple of weeks, which is cool. The main event angle and Ricky Starks' defense from last week. They're putting an emphasis on the Lucky 7 rule, which I still think is a fantastic addition. I love that so much. What an easy way to add stakes and have potentially great creative ideas moving forward. This is so good. So basically that just about wraps it up. But hey, good to see Sean Mooney I gotta say, I'm kind of disappointed that there's not, what's the word I'm looking for? Not an action center. What's the expression? A command center. The command center, like they had in WCW and WWF and AEW now. There's a command center. He's not broadcasting from the command center. He's just like sitting in front of that, the space graphic, So Sean Mooney from outer space, the galaxy flying behind him, brings us NWA news, which is fine. I don't think I'm just being stupid. I don't need a command center. That's fine. Eli Drake and James Storm defend their AEW. Here we go. This their NWA tag team championships against the returning Josephus and Mims. The audience is pretty happy to see Josephus back from his suspension. I mean, it's good that he's back. I mean, he hasn't been doing much over the past few months. Maybe there's a little ring rust. I mean, he hasn't been doing much, right? Josephus eats shit from Drake and Storm to start off the match, but then Josephus body slams Eli Drake and gets Mims into the match, who eats a lariat by Drake. A kick and a snapmare and a running, diving forearm from Storm follows. Eli Drake hits his big jumping elbow drop and a fireman's carry into the backstabber from the champs. Win it. I like that move. I think it's fun. It's a good move. Just got to be careful on how they hit it, because it's the kind of move I think that I like on James. It's all about timing, and I think that on James Storm's side, it has the greater potential. Well, it has the potential to just look messy. So I like it, but they have to be careful, I think. But I like it. Fun little match. It was fine. Give the champions some shine on TV. Give them a match. Nothing wrong with this. I'm going to tell you what else wasn't wrong on this show. Thunder Rosa successfully defending the NWA Women's Championship against Allison Kay. This was good again. This was real good. My God. Melina's on commentary, but she ain't talking. She doesn't have a headset on. Nothing. She's just standing there in a fantastic striped suit. She looks great in it. It just compliments her. It really does look good. I'm not being facetious. It really, really did look good on her. There's some strong groundwork between Kay and Rosa to begin with Kay eventually getting the upper hand and Rosa sort of backing off a bit. Not coward-like, just like, oh, I need to regroup. And I like this. This was a good story here. Again, establishing the fact that they're two very competitive women, very, very strong wrestlers. They trade some kicks and some strikes, and Rosa goes back to work on the arm that was the key to her success at hard times and winning the title. She just pulled that arm apart. It was fantastic stuff. Kay fights back and lands some chops on Thunder Rosa. My God, Walter'd be proud. She whips Rosa into the ropes, who runs back, who bounces back and satellites onto Kay, bringing her down with a Fujiwara armbar that was like cordon bleu stuff. It was so nice. Joe Gali at this point, the man, says that pound for pound, they're some of the best wrestlers on the roster. And I want to point this out because I like what he said. He said, pound for pound, these are some of the best wrestlers on the roster, not some of the best women's wrestlers on the roster. He just said wrestlers. And I agree. Again, these two women here tonight, like I told you guys, they stole the show at Hard Times. Did you watch Hard Times like I asked you to do last week? Did you guys go and get the replay just for this match? Because if you didn't, fucking do something. It was really, really good. And Rosa, it was really, really good. They stole the show. It was the best match of the night. And here, again, on Powerrr, despite the fact that Matt Cross and Caleb Conley had a great match earlier on in the evening, this was it. This was so good. One of the better TV matches put on Powerrr so far. And it's the women again who are doing it. They're just fantastic wrestlers. And it's not that they're great women's wrestlers. They're great wrestlers. And I'm props to Joe Gali for calling that one out. They strike and slap at each other, and they just go strong style on each other until they start gassing each other out because of the strikes. But somehow they just build the adrenaline up and they start striking at each other again. It was a nice moment. And then they double kick each other down. Marty Bell comes to ringside, and Thunder Rosa's not happy about that. She's like, what are you doing here? Go away. And Marty Bell's like, I'm here to help. And she says, I don't want help. Oh, but then who comes out? Then? You have Tasha Steelz and Ashley Vox who come out, clearly to keep an eye on Thunder Rosa's group for Allison Kay, just to make sure that everything stays nice and kosher. So I like this. You have all the women's division here, or a substantial part of the women's division, who are here and just sticking their nose and stuff and getting involved. I like it. Back in the ring, Kay hits a neck breaker and a knee strike. She hits a jackhammer, covers Thunder Rosa, but only gets 2. The AK-47 is countered by a stunner by Rosa, which was nicely done. Rosa hits a German suplex, covers, but only gets 2. She does a gory special face slam, but it doesn't get the job either. Nor does a Death Valley driver, but a high angle roll up that happens out of nowhere does it. Allison Kay can't get the job done. Thunder Rosa has her number. She retains the championship. Afterwards, Rosa and Marty Bell and Melina are sort of all like, hanging out. But you can tell there's a slight tension. There's nothing too obvious, but there's, Melina's not going to sit around and just wait for Thunder Rosa to steal all her shine. Hells no! We all know how Melina is and how she was in WWE. She's got a plan. This was a great match. This was honest to God, these Kay and Rosa are pros, and they are good at professional wrestling. If you haven't been watching Powerrr, you've been watching my recaps instead of Powerrr for some reason, I fully suggest that you pull up episode 17, was it? This week's episode, the February 4th, and watch it. Just watch this match. It was real good. Short, not as long as the match. I mean, the match at Hard Times was special. Pay-per-view match, I think they went 18 minutes. It was something else. For the time that they had here, it went above and beyond. It was real good stuff. And they are two of the best wrestlers on the entire roster. And I love that NWA is giving them room to shine. It's fantastic. Go check it out. Check out all of NWA Powerrr. There's another solid episode this week. Solid stuff. Some real great in-ring work. Fun stuff. Went over by 10 minutes. An hour and 10 minutes was the time this week. I like it. I said it a couple of weeks ago when they did the 90-minute show. I think an hour and 30 minutes would be perfect for Powerrr on YouTube right now. I think it'd be great. Especially if they keep delivering like they did with in-ring action like they did this week. As much as last week was a very promo-heavy promo heavy as opposed to in-ring. Last week there was all about the great promos. This week it was all about the great in-ring action. So go check it out. Well, I am going to wrap this up right here. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming in to watch or listen to me talk about NWA Powerrr. It was a good show. This is a good show. I also do a good show on Thursday. Be sure to be there Thursday evening, 9 p.m. Eastern for the weekly MrWarrenHayes show. And if you want to come and chat with me after the show on the post stream, please do become a Patreon. $5 Power Pal level patron will get you access to everything extra I do for the patrons every month. And you'll be showing some support for your boy as well. Can't say I dislike that. I kind of dig that. But I kind of dig you. And if you like what you saw, give it a like on YouTube, or give it a thumbs up. Very, very much appreciated. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. I'll leave it at that. Thank you all again for coming over, and I'll see you next time.